Hi Laura.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. It's it's been an interesting time of continuing to see the behaviours that people are exhibiting as we're coming out of lockdown. And I'm kind of noticing we seem to have lost the ability to use our initiative a little bit. It feels as though a lot of people are saying it was so much easier being told what to do to go into lockdown. And it's so much harder trying to work out for ourselves what we're allowed to do. So that's been really interesting, particularly this idea of wearing face masks. Do I or don't I? So I am now wearing a face mask every time I go into a shop.
Yeah.
Because we have been told it's beneficial to wear a face mask. But so many people have said, no, I'm waiting until the 24th of July.
Just those extra few days of freedom.
Yeah. So that's really interesting to me, that kind of, well, no, actually, we could use our initiative and just start now.
Yeah.
But anyway, how about you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I kind of feel like something that I was reflecting on this morning, actually, of what I've been noticing, is kind of, in some ways, I feel like my new normal feels quite routine now. I am sort of out and about and seeing people, still within all the government guidelines that have been set. But I've noticed myself feeling into that, sort of settling into that, and not only that, but actually just really enjoying that, being able to see a few more people in person and those sorts of things. But I think as well, what I've been reflecting on is it's still so diverse, in that some people are still needing to shield, some people are sort of on a different point of the journey of easing out of lockdown, and I think that's a really interesting thing that we might see over the next few weeks, maybe, but just that I've been noticing of how we can be kind to each other whilst we're all in our different phases, whilst we're all in our different kind of ways of being. And some people are still shielding, some people aren't, and actually, like, how do we be really good neighbours to each other and really love each other, which is actually really great, because something that we've been able to do this week was to launch our food bank, which has been a bit of a whirlwind, hasn't it? Because
a little.
We've been in contact with Noel Park, who amazingly, the teachers there have done an incredible job, and they set up the food bank as a response to COVID and supporting some of their families. But obviously they come to the summer holidays and the teachers aren't able to open the school or be present. And it was amazing for us to be able to say, we can do this and we want to do this. And for me, it has God written all over it, because it's been this wonderful transition, this wonderful relationship with Noel Park, this really easy, like, actually, we can do this, like all the days and like where the collection of the food is and all those sorts of things. And sometimes it doesn't work like this, but sometimes I love it because God's just all over it, and it's the right time, and it feels the right time. But so we had our first one on Tuesday, and it was brilliant.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because we had said, going back a few months, that as a leadership team, that we wanted to reflect more on generosity, particularly thinking a bit more about where God is in our giving, a bit of theology around that, and to perhaps enter a season of how can we become more generous. And I wonder if this is speaking into what I was saying about our ability to use our initiative and be that outpouring of love for our sisters and brothers, which means if we all did this, it makes it easier. But also, the God preparing the way for the food bank and generosity that we've already seen with that. We wanted to talk a bit, didn't we, around giving, just recognizing that it's quite complex and it's quite personal. And I can remember people in the past saying, well, you can either have my money or my time, but you can't have it all. Which, I get where that comes from. But if you think about God as giver, we are never going to outgive God. Never going to be in a place where we can say, I will empty myself of everything of who I am in order to bring humanity back to myself. I mean, we're never going to do that, but we are invited to get caught up in the spirit of generosity, of this idea that something comes from overflow.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? It comes. I think one of the most quoted and maybe well known, but maybe not well known to everyone, but Bible verses is God loves a joyful giver, and there's something in that. It's supposed to be this joy, as you said, this overflow of what we have, not kind of like, oh gosh, I've got to fit in how I do this, and it's like out of the way that God gives to us, out of the way God is generous with his love and his provision and everything. As God is generous to us, then we hopefully, as an overflow of receiving that and knowing that, we naturally able to give that to other people, and for that to be a really joyful thing. And I think that's the thing for me that I always try and come back to, whether it's in whatever way it is giving, whether it be to a food bank or in different ways. It's like, well, I want to have this as part of my worship, as part of my worship to God, this kind of overflow of what it is, of to know a really generous God and to share that with others. It's kind of what Jesus spoke about so much. Give everything you have to the poor. It's like, yeah, like be frivolous, be like wasteful with generosity, because it isn't wasteful. Obviously, it's being able to be confident, I guess, in just giving, because that's what God has given to us in so many ways, which I just find amazing. But like you said, it's so complex, because we can look at our bills, we can look at the finite and think, how's this going to happen? How can I do this well?
I think also we are in a society in this part of the world that is very transactional. You know, there is a kind of a giving in order to receive. And I think we see that play out in church life quite a lot. You know, I've heard people use words like, I am funding the church, or I will stop my giving if church doesn't look like this. And my response to that always is, please stop your giving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find a charity, go and give to the Cats Home, because if part of your giving is because of what you may receive, then it's completely the wrong way round.
Yeah.
And there is something of privilege in that. And we were reflecting on our readings from morning prayer this morning in the Old Testament reading, which is an amazing, you know, the Old Testament is like a series of blockbuster feature films for me. But this morning we're hearing about Saul, who is a very privileged leader, I think quite spoilt, and we know from the reading that that he has been filled with this evil spirit, that there is something that is not of God that has entered into him. And he's behaving a bit like a spoilt child, saying, oh, I'm so unhappy and I'm so sad, and if only somebody would come and entertain me, I'd feel so much better. And then, you know, here comes David, who is going to become King David, but he's selected as the son of Jesse because he's very good at playing the lyre. Not liar as in telling lies, but L-Y-R-E. I think that's a guitar, whatever that means. And so every time that Saul feels a bit sad, it's like, oh, David, come and play for me and make me feel happy. And there is something transactional around, I need to be given something in order to be able to be who I need to be, you know, rather than this idea of generosity that says, it's from a place of overflow. When it's from a place of deficit that we're needing somebody else to fill, there will always be a limit on who we are and how we're able to give. And so it would be a bit like if we were giving to the food bank thinking, well, let me sift through my cupboard and what's at the back that I don't want anymore. Well, go on then, I can let that blow the dust off. Here you are, have this tin, as opposed to, what might have a bit more purpose.
Yeah, and even just as a family, as a person, as a human, whoever you are, in every your context, what is it that you would want if you were really struggling of food and being able to source that? Well, what is it that you would want? And I think that's such a amazing place to start from, like you say, rather than having a rummage through and seeing like, oh, I could give this because I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
What are the things that you really love that you could buy extra of to give to some amazing families, and you know, that's to start from that place of, as we've said, generosity, overflow and joy actually is kind of, I guess, what we really want to be the foundation of this food bank as well. But I think it sort of teaches us just a lot about what it is to give, and like that kind of, it gives us an insight into how God gives to us in that way.
I was reflecting on an experience I had here with a baptism a couple of years ago, and it was with one of our more vulnerable families, and mum and dad weren't together, but they wanted to be together at the baptism, and so there was probably only about 15 people present, and for a lot of the family, it was the first time that they had met each side of this baby's family. They were, you know, they were never going to be a family in terms of that, you know, mum and dad weren't going to be together, but they had this, they were the shared family of this beautiful baby. And the baptism was beautiful, actually. We were able to talk about God and love and inclusion and acceptance, and I think for this particular family, it was what they needed to hear about that abundant generosity of who God is. It doesn't put a limit on who's allowed to come through the church door, or who is worthy enough to receive God's love. And at the end, we always put a collection plate out just to invite people, if they would like to participate in the work of the church here by making a financial donation. And the baby's auntie came to the back of the church, opened her purse and tipped it into the plate and said, "I don't have much, but what I have, you can have."
Wow.
And and that moment I thought, I long to be able to give like you have given.
Yeah.
And the reality was, in terms of the amount of money, it wasn't a huge amount, but that's not the point. It was everything that she had.
Yeah.
And I just long to be able to give with that spirit of, I hear something of what I have been given, and here, what I've got is yours.
Yeah, and I'll share with you and give that. And we were saying earlier of how that, you know, that you could tell that story as the widow's mite, as the parable that we read in the Bible of Jesus saying of, you know, a widow giving her what feels like a really small amount. That is way more, that God sees that, or Jesus counts that as way more generous than a load of money dropped in, but it not really making a dent on your bank account or whatever it is. But that's just an amazing story, and I think that's a really amazing challenge to kind of go forward as we think about our food bank, and as we think about how this is part of our worship, part of our ministry as our church now, which is so exciting. But actually, it's like, okay, how can we as St Martin's, but the community as well, but how can we give generously to the food bank, and what will that look like? What could we do?
We've said, haven't we, that what will be wonderful, and I think we're going to try to put this on the Facebook page and through our weekly email, would be to say, well, how about thinking you could sponsor a product? So maybe, well, why not buy 5 shower gels, and not go to the pound shop and buy the cheapest you can get, but some really lovely shower gel that you might like to use. Or, you know, these are families with young kids. What about every week saying, I'll buy 6 tins of baked beans, or I'll buy 3 multi-packs of crisps, or, you know, a lot of the families are really desperate for fresh fruit and veg. Well, what about, okay, I'll buy 3 bags of apples. And that would be the spirit of giving, wouldn't it? Would be to say, I see this family, I see this need, I want to join in with it. That to me feels like that's the overflow of love. That is, I see another human being, I see a sister or a brother, and want to join in with that kind of mutual love, that mutual aid, that mutual sharing that says we are all in this together.
And that's been a lot of the time the spirit of how we've all pulled through COVID. It's been completely mutual aid, and that's what groups have been called on Facebook. It's saying, I can do this, and then there's that need, oh, I can do this, and it's not one person flying in and sort of patronisingly helping, or saying, "Oh, I can solve this." It's just everybody recognising that we're all in this together, that we're all walking along the same journey, and saying, "Yeah, I can do this at this stage." And that's a great thing to think about the food bank in that way, is that kind of that cycle of giving to each other, and that being this sort of continual thing, and actually just like a really amazing space for us as a church to show love in this way.
I think the worst thing that could happen for me is for people to say, well, I won't give to church anymore, I'm going to give to the food bank instead. Because there is something that, the reality is, for the majority of people, you can afford an extra tin of beans each week, really, for the majority.
Yeah.
And it isn't a case of a transaction or a check and balance that says, well, I've got to do, once I've done my weekly shop, and once I've done everything my family needs, and once we've had our holidays, and once we've all had new clothes, and once we've paid for the Sky package, and once we've paid for the internet, and once, plus obviously needing to pay the bills and put food on the table, which is a reality, there is also the reality that on the whole, there is another layer of generosity where we can say we want to join in with this amazing activity that is God at work in the community. Remembering we will never outgive God. God isn't ever going to limit what we're given.
Yeah.
So really, we don't have to limit what we feel we can give in return, even if that means we literally get nothing back, or so it would seem, because we have already received.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've already been gifted with what enables us to have food on the table and pay our bills and go on holidays, and that's already been given.
Yeah. We were just going to share, if people are watching this and thinking, what can I add on to my weekly shop? We were just going to sort of briefly share some of the things. This will come in an email and hopefully be on Facebook as well, so don't worry if you kind of miss this now. But some of the things that the families were really interested in having was cleaning stuff for the house, and toiletries would be a really key one, I think. And also fresh fruit and vegetables. Amazingly, what a lot of people give is tins, and that's great, we need that, but that kind of fresh bag of apples, whatever it is. And then also as well, as we know, kids love to eat crisps and biscuits, so kind of multi-packs of crisps, and also biscuits, chocolate bars, those sort of lunchbox items would be really, really useful.
One thing we don't need people to donate is bread. No. Because amazingly, Tesco, as part of the Fair Share scheme, donates bread, and that the generosity of that is overwhelming. So we absolutely don't need bread, but all of those other items. And Laura, you're going to be heading this up. This is you're going to lead the team to do this. So we would also ask for everyone at home, if even if in your circumstances you can't give practically, and we absolutely understand that is a reality. If you can't give practically, please give prayerfully, and please hold this project in your prayers as we go forward. It's so important for our families, our vulnerable families, and nothing will be wasted. None of it is wasted, and every prayer that can be offered, we absolutely believe God is in this, and if you can pray for its ongoing, just this amazing smooth transition that we've had, then all prayers, just let's give it to God. Let's continue to be joining in with God in this. Have a good week. You're off next week, and I'm off the following, so this is actually last weekly chat for 2 weeks, so we're having a little break, and we'll be back in 2 weeks time. So lots of love to everyone. Have a good holiday this week.
Thank you very much,
and we'll see you all again in 2 weeks time.
Definitely. Take care, everyone.
God bless. Bye.